what skill would you like to master? Because there's this book I'm reading that talks a lot about how something you would like to master is what will give you the highest level of engagement. And just thinking of like, I don't know, how we get engaged with things, how we like naturally gravitate between one thing or the other. And yeah, just curious to hear from you all. And I'll pass to Zaptimus.
Oh, that's a very tough question. I mean, there's many skill. I actually always want to improve on, let's like a bit of everything. So I'm not only dependent on one thing. But lately, what I'm focusing a lot is to improve my body skills, like be more healthy, more flexible, like yeah, biological things. And for the yeah, also I love to keep improving my English so I can communicate better. Yeah, those two. I'll pass it to Mateo.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I believe that uh, having a good balanced life is eventually a skill that everyone is trying every day to manage. But with that, I mean more about time management and see what's really priority for yourself to keep a really good life, healthy life in all aspects, in the psychological level, the healthy level, and physical level. So I want to know how to manage my time to have a good exercise routine, to grab a good book and read, and get the work done of the day, and be with my family, and all of that in 24 hours. So I believe that's a good skill that I eventually want to manage, and I'm working on that because as time passes, I see that it gets a little bit complicated. So yeah, I think that balancing life is a skill that I want to manage. I'll pass it to Juanca.
Thanks, Mateo. Um, I think that I would like to master how to make and sustain long lasting relationships. I think that I am more or less like good at sustaining relationships with people, but I find this something really interesting that I would like to be better at because I feel that I can learn from everybody and I would like to be a master in learning from people and being able to bring out the best of people. I think that's amazing. And I will pass to Nate.
Mm. um, yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on this question. I do not know what to say here. I've been thinking for the past 5 minutes and I cannot come up with anything. That is tough. I'm gonna have to pass. I'll pass to Santa.
Let's go back to you. Let's give you a chance. We'll go. You can hit the end.
Thank you, Nate. I wish I had a chance to learn everything I wish to learn all the time. There's so many things I wish I could learn, and I don't have the time, or I just don't have the knowledge, or both of them. So that's something I'd love to. And also, I'd love to be able to sometimes separate a little bit, you know, leisure from work. Sometimes I get too deep into work that I forget about the rest. And it's good to be able to every once in a while when you say ledger, not ledger physically, but your head keeps running and running and running. So I wish I could do that. I'll pass it to Tam.
When you first asked the question, I came through more things that were like what I want to learn instead of what I want to master. like random things like surfing. Wouldn't it be great to learn to surf? You know, like, wouldn't it be great to learn magic tricks? I don't know, like but when I think about like what I want to really master, I'm pretty good about like continuously learning. And I feel like I've made so much progress on so many things, but there's one thing I still suck at, one thing I can't get. And it is staying in touch with people that are close to me. Family, friends, I just can't. I don't know how to do it. And I'm always sending these emails that's like, I am so sorry I haven't in 6 months. I apologize that. And man, I would love to master that. I would love to master staying in touch with people that mean so much to me and I value so much in my life. I would love to master that. God, I would love to master that. And who didn't go? I'll pass back to Livia.
Go, Grace.
I would like to master this kind of, maybe this is a cop out in some ways, but I really would like to master creating economies. That's and I feel like that's what that's what I'm trying to do, is like master this art of creating economies, and the Common Stack is my goal to do that. So and really to support other people in creating their own, and because that's, at least that's how I think mastery will arise. Yeah, I think that's everyone except, Livia, did you go?
Nate, do you want to take another chance?
That's right.
Yeah, I'll take a stab at it. I guess one thing that I've always wanted to be better at, I like participating in community organizing, and it's a very difficult task, especially if you don't have the network. And I would like to master the methods of community organization. I think it's been my passion for a long time, and because I'm not great at it, it's always been on my mind going, yep, I need to be better at this. I need to be better at this. So I've participated in a lot of things, but yeah, that's one thing that I really wish I was more involved in.
And for me, I would like to master music. I think more than music, sound. I feel like it's everything. It's like for me, it feels like the base knowledge of all, like the source knowledge or something. And I feel so far from it, but it's yeah, it's a big passion that it always feels like it will happen sometime, and then I keep putting like there into the future, but hopefully I'll get better at it. Cool. That's fun. So we can jump into Sourcecred updates. I already had a spoiler that they are very exciting today.
Thank you, Lee. I'm going to ask Mateo if you can share your screen with a little link that I sent you a while ago, because I'm having some issues here with the connection and I want everyone to be able to see it. So basically, I've been in touch with Santiago during the past 2 weeks, and he just created the first iteration of what is going to be the dashboard for users to check how they're doing on Sourcecred. Okay, so the data you're going to see is actual data, and let's see if Mateo can share it. So basically, there's 3 goals we have with Sourcecred. One is let everyone see how they're doing, how the community is doing, and how they are doing in the community. Second, take a snapshot after every distribution that we can post on the forum, because since the data is a living data, if you don't take a snapshot on a particular moment, that moment's gone. Okay, so it's good to have a chance to do that. Are you?
Sorry, Santi, it isn't loading for a reason.
Okay.
Like if it gets stuck.
I can try myself if you're having issues and see if the internet connection works. Let me try myself, see if it works from my. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a basic panel. It's already up. I will share with you the link. Basically, this first chart shows all the distribution of cred and grain. We haven't given away any grain. That's why, well, the colors are mixed. You know, the blue here corresponds to the orange, and the orange here corresponds to the blue. It's a little thing we have to change. But basically, what you see here is the overall cred that's been given to all users, and the overall grain, which is the distribution. We haven't distributed anything. That's why it's flat. Okay. Now, if we scroll down, this is the main panel, and this is where all the information can be seen. I'm just gonna, with this slider, you can decide how many people you wanna see in this chart. It's gonna, let's see if it loads right here. Let me see if it, let me just upload it again because I've been away from the computer from the past half an hour, and it might be the reason it's not reacting.
I think for some reason the app is down because it shows me now an application error. So I think it's down.
Let's see if it works, or hopefully it works. But it might be an issue, or he might be uploading something. Okay, I'm just gonna show you some screenshots that he sent me before, because it might be an issue with the. Oh, there we go.
I will say panel often just takes like, because this is using panel, like, and sometimes it just takes like 2 or 3 minutes to load.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so right here is where all the information gets seen. Right now, as you see on the slider up here on the top left, I have decided to see only the 5 top users with Sourcecred. And that's what's shown here. Tamara is in 1, Griff is the 2nd, Jessica is the 3rd, Marco is the 4th, and Livia is the 5th. Okay. Let's say I want to see myself and I don't know where I am, so I just type here. It's gonna, you know, anyone that starts with the letters that I start typing, I just select it. And hopefully, let me just try to see if it updates. It should update and show me my position compared to the first top 5 whenever this wants to update. And I don't know why it's not updating now. It should be updating. Anyway, you would see the colors slightly, I don't know where, not highlighted that much, and your graph, your line chart on a higher, there we go, on a higher color. You can decide if you want to compare with the top 5. There we go. You see, this one is mine, my Sourcecred distribution throughout time, and these are the top 5. The rest ones are the top 5. When this thing is uploading, if you hover your mouse over it, wait, it just tells you the numbers. Okay, you just go over it, and it's going to tell you all the. There we go. Okay, if I click here and I see this is Tamara, if I go over here, it should show me the other one. Okay, and I can play with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, as many as I want. Of course, the more I put here, the more the tougher it's gonna be for me to see. And probably what I'm gonna suggest, Santiago, is to have one tab for each one of these charts so we can see them on a bigger image. Now, this chart, this is the data that is recreated in this line chart. And this is just the bar chart representing just the latest information in cred. Okay, so in the line chart, you can see the distribution over time. in the bar chart, you see the last amount of cred of every single one of the top 5. Now, this is just concerning the distribution, and this is the other piece of information that we're going to be working on whenever it wants to load, which is how the cred flows from the 2 instances that we are running right now, which is the forum and GitHub. And whenever this wants to upload, there we go. Okay, so here it's telling us that where the cred is coming, the plugin edges. This is probably going to be GitHub one and the forum the other one. And this tells us how much cred flows from the edges and how much cred flows from the nodes. Okay, remember that when we were checking that the page, the official page, we had the nodes and we had the edges, and we started playing with the edges, and then we got a suggestion from the guys from One Hive not to touch the edges. So basically, right here, most of the flow is coming from these cores. That's what's telling us, from the edges, and most of the flow also comes here on the nodes, comes from these cores, right? So what we see here is that most of the engagement we get is from the forum. And if we want to play a little bit more with GitHub, we should try to, maybe give some more distribution from the amount of usage from Discord, from GitHub, than from Discord. Okay. Although this is the main chart, if we wanna have an idea of where the cred is coming from. And right here, it just tells us which edges, or which if you just hover over it, it's gonna tell you Sourcecred distribution last. This is like posts. Okay, this is what we're getting from these cores, and this one is from these cores posting post, I think. And so if you hover over the bars, you see what they are, where they are getting, where is the cred being distributed, which actions is the cred being distributed for, and which actions are not taking into account. So this is a way for us to decide, okay, do we want to incentivize some specific actions because we think they are important for the community, and if we incentivize them, hopefully people is gonna try to use them more, and if that's what we want. So that's basically what this dashboard is for. Okay, we have to. This is just the basic first iteration, and we have to get deeper into the data and try to play a little bit more with it and see how we can chart it on a much better way. But the idea is that everyone will be able to see these charts and at any time see what's going on. And on top of that, after every distribution, we'll take a snapshot and we'll publish it on the forum. So everyone will be able to see where was I when we had last distribution, of the distribution 2 months ago, when I didn't get anything, or when I wasn't being engaged too much and I didn't get too much distribution from the distribution back then.
I was going to ask you, those cred categories, do they stay with the identities to create kind of like a reputation based on categorical contributions?
No, these categories are the ones that, through the levers that we were playing, okay, that we ended up, leaving them as they were, basically, except for the icons. We decided to get rid of any action giving away emoticons. Those are the actions that are being captured by the system, okay? And if we want, for instance, this action that's getting 0, that corresponds to whatever it says here. Let me see. Sourcecred discourse secrets like, or secrets, sports. We have to check all these actions. And basically what this is telling us is that this is where the system is getting all the credit that is distributing. Just from these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actions. Okay, 3 from this course and 4 from GitHub. If we want any other actions to be captured and give away credit for them, we have to play with those levers and try to see how playing with those levers we get the reaction that we expect to get.
So the distribution is happening already? No.
What's happening already is the credit distribution. Okay, remember there's 2 measurements. Okay, one is the credit, which is giving away the percentage of everyone's contribution upon the actions that we have configured from Sourcecred. And this is what is represented here. This is the credit. Okay, now if we distribute right now, today, this is the amount of credit that the top 5 have. If we go, and represent the top 10, it's going to show me some more here. Okay, whenever the chart updates. So this is what the credit is right now from all the history, and from, remember that we had one basic parameter that was how much consideration we give to the previous periods and how much consideration we give to the actual period. Okay, and that's the main parameter on the Sourcecred system. So from all that information that we've been capturing in the past weeks, since basically mid or October, if we were going to make a distribution today, okay, the one that would get the most would be Tamara, second would be Griff, third would be Jessica, fourth would be Libby, Marco, then Libby, then Sam. Sourcecred, remember number 7, Sourcecred, this is the 5% that the system automatically gives away to the guys from Sourcecred from using the tool. No one is called Sourcecred. It's just there embedded on the code. And so if we were going to make a distribution today of, let's say, 10x dice, the 10x dice would be distributed accordingly, considering these levels of contribution that we have today. Now, go ahead. Who's there?
So we haven't decided to, maybe it was my wrong assumption, but I thought we were going to distribute impact hour tokens, and then this would like gather with the cultural build tribute, and that would be paid off after hatch.
Well, we can distribute whatever we decide. Okay, the first thing we have to decide as a group is what do we want to distribute and how many of those we want to distribute for how many periods of how many distributions. Let's say we want to distribute, 20 impact hours every week using Sourcecred. Then every week, whenever we make the distribution, those 20 impact hours are going to be given away according to the weight of every single one of us that has been measured over time. Okay, and it can be impact hours, it can be whatever we decide. Remember that 5% of that distribution, so if we give away, 10 impact hours, it's going to be 0.1 impact hour. It's going to be given away to Sourcecred. Okay, and the rest is going to be distributed among all the members of the community according to the contribution that they have made throughout time. That's one of the reasons why, let's say, some member decides to take 2 months of vacation and he's not contributing during 2 months. He's still going to get some credit because we consider his contribution from the past, from all the past. Okay? Of course, he's going to get less and less. It's similar to the conviction voting. You stop giving your vote, but there's some conviction there left, and it takes some time to reach 0 because you were voting for that specific proposal for quite a while. So it's similar to that. But we haven't distributed anything yet because we have to decide what we want to distribute and when do we want to distribute it.
Yeah, that's also important to note that I make manually the distributions of grain, but so far grain is T-Cred test tokens. It's meaningless. So for now, I've made monthly a distribution that you can see in the dashboard, but those are only the representation of the cred turned into grain. So every month, by the time that I manually make the distribution for the Sourcecred implementation, we have to say, well, this time we're going to give away impact hours or let's say X die, and we set the amounts corresponding to that decision, which will be also important to note what's the percentage given for the instant contributors or the historical ones that Santi was mentioning. So that's still, everything is manual. So we could use. Go ahead.
Keep going. Sorry, Mateo.
No, the last part I was going to mention is that maybe our life is made easier if we choose, like, if it's going to be monthly or every 2 weeks. Sourcecred automatically turns the cred to the grain that we decide to. So we would only need to get that number and make the distribution manually as we decide, if it's X die or impact hours or whatever. Go ahead, Santi.
So you have to think of cred as the measurement over time of how everything is behaving on contribution to the community. Let's say we are a class of students and the teacher keeps checking who's doing the homework every week and who's doing good on tests and who's contributing to helping the other students, and he's giving all this cred to all the class. And then one day he decides to bring candy. And how much candy is going to get every one of the kids? Depending on the Sourcecred ranking that he has from all the weeks before contribution. And next week he brings, I don't know, sandwiches or pizza, whatever he wants to distribute. And he always checks that Sourcecred ranking to distribute. We could even make an airdrop for whatever, you know. We can distribute any token. Right now, as Mateo said, we've been manually distributing, you know, useless tokens just to see that the grain, which is the distribution, that's how it's called, was working properly. All right. So we have everything together. We have the ranking. All we have to decide is when do we want to distribute and how much do we want to distribute, and then start testing.
Well, I wish we were distributing sandwiches and pizza.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Cool. That's super awesome. Yeah, great work, guys. So next step would be just to schedule the session to decide these things, to decide like how much and what we are distributing.
Right. I think we should do 1 or 2 test distributions with not a lot of tokens, just a few of whatever, if it's impact hours, non-impact hours, just to see and just so everyone can check and realize, and feel comfortable, you know, and then once we have checked with a couple of distributions with a few tokens, whatever they are, just decide how we want to move forward with real distributions.
I want to jump in and just say one thing. I don't think this is the session where we're actually sanity checking the parameters now that we see the results. I think we're still going to do that. And I just want to say my one, you know, orange flag, maybe not quite red, is that I think the objective of this is to shape, to help encourage participation and engagement in our discourse in the forum, and And while the people that are using GitHub daily, like myself, end up being the higher. Santi, if you're on mute, I see your lips moving.
Oh, sorry. Libby, can you mute yourself? Because I was listening to the typing. I could barely hear Tamara. Thank you.
Yeah, I do think before we start, I mean, we should maybe go through the, run through the process just to see that the distribution works and we can still set those parameters. But I think we should maybe go back and see, is this encouraging, are the parameters as they're set today encouraging the behavior that we want, which is more contributor engagement? I don't know that I should be the leader in this particular instance. So maybe we want to tweak it so that it's actually people contributing from the community more than, the person who's in charge of GitHub and makes sure everything is up to date all the time. I wonder if there's a way that we can sort of balance that better. And I looked,
Okay,
I'm looking at how Sourcecred is distributed, and I'm looking at the GitHub ones, the authors, okay, that has parent, but then merged as and corresponds to commit type. I have no idea what action that is in GitHub. So I don't even know how to suggest that we find a more balanced
but
credit system.
I completely agree with you, Tam. I completely agree. But keep in mind, Sourcecred doesn't have all the tools we wish it had to be able to tweak one thing and not tweak the rest. Everything you touch affects everything because it's a graph, all right? First. Second, that's why I suggest to give away a small amount, whatever, we give away and see, okay? Because although you may see that you're a first, maybe the difference between the first and the second is a penny, not even a penny. Okay, it all depends on the distribution. We can play with some of the levers, and and once we start giving away something, we're gonna see exactly who gets what, and then we can start tweaking a little bit, not too much, on a second iteration and see how that completely change the distribution little by little. Because if we touch 2 or 3 different things, there's no way we're gonna know why that happened, because it's very difficult. Everything is integrated.
Yeah, thanks for that. Good feedback.
Yeah, we still have a few others to go through, but yeah, I think it would be very helpful to set up this hack session where it would be the start of the committee, right? That was approved, and maybe it's a good timing now since we have this data to move forward with this. And hello, Christopher and Andy. If you want to follow us in the agenda, it's in the Softgov channel. And next, you're welcome. Next step is community mapping. So Manu isn't in this call, but we had thought about this. He was very excited about making a map of the whole community to help him understand what is going on, but also to display. And we thought the initial page of the Git book would be a cool place. So I pasted this picture. Let me share my screen. He made this drawing of it. It's very hard to read, but then we had a meeting today and it was quite challenging because it hit the complexity of what we're trying to do and how the first look of someone coming into the community and trying to put the pieces together, how challenging this is. So today we had a call and we had the idea to make a puzzle. So we'll put all of the pieces in the Miro board and have a session that each one can make their own puzzle of the community. And I think this will be a great insight for how our different perspectives shape the interaction that we have with the system. So we'll have multiple perspectives of this same puzzle, creating different images. I don't know how they'll go, hopefully successful and beautiful. So we'll give it a try. I just wanted to share with you guys. And mission, vision, values session. So if everyone can jump into this doc or just follow me here. I started to put this together to be the forum post about it. So TLDR is that we are revisiting the TC mission, vision, values, and proposing new segments using token log to pick the ones, and everyone can participate and see staff and impact and holder. And then a brief explanation of what we did in the past and what log. And then I was wondering it would be helpful to put the mission, vision, and values with, or if that, the strategy, the new one, that would be like making it.
Were you guys able to hear Livia? She was breaking up for me.
I couldn't hear her either. I thought it was me, but it looks like it was her.
Oh no.
It was like we could hear most of what you were saying, but then it just would break up and there'd be like we would miss like half a second every 2 seconds.
Is it better now?
I'm not sure. Can you just say what you were saying again?
I can hear you perfect. So if I start breaking.
Yeah, you're breaking up again. I don't know. Maybe try rejoining. Try. Did anyone else work on mission, vision, values for proposal?
I changed my network. Is it better now?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think we'll see.
Okay, cool. Yeah, mission, vision, values. My question was just, should we put the old ones there, or that's going to be too biased for people taking trying a new one?
I think that should be a submission. I mean, the thing is that at least it should be really easy to copy paste those, and then that's what I did. I started with those and started editing from there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, that it should be like a revisiting of them, but maybe it would be too biased. But yeah, it makes sense. So I'll add them here. And then the next question I had was for Jake, but he's not in this call, but I sent him on Telegram. If we could create a template, so people will get into token log, we'll have a repository that will be connected to GitHub, and they just click on new issue. And I was hoping that this new issue could have a specific template on GitHub just for this, with mission, vision, values, and then people submit there. I think that shouldn't be that hard. Does anyone here knows how to do that?
It's really just talking to Wesley and getting it on the token log website. But the main thing is just creating a tag and creating a template for submissions so that whenever someone submits, it has that tag on it. Like that's at least that's how we're doing it for the params. So, but we can even, for MVP or just to start, you can just create a repo. Actually, yeah, I guess the other option is just to create a repo, and any issue in that repo would be in token log.
Okay, yeah, I think Jake will take care of this, but I was wondering also, on GitHub that we have a template for submitting issues for our sprints. Like if we could have a template like that, like embedded in the issue.
Yeah, it's not crazy difficult. I'm sure a lot of people with very little effort.
Okay, awesome. And
Does
last,
anyone? Well, maybe does anyone on this call? I don't know. Andy, Christopher, Santi, Mateo. You guys are devs.
Yeah, sure. It's easy to set up a template for issues.
Would you be able to help Livia out with that?
Absolutely.
yes, thank you. I'll ping you on that then. And then the last question I was wondering is, I was thinking like how will people submit it? What is the title? And maybe the title is their name, but is that too invasive? I don't know. Any opinions? Because I think if, I mean, the content will be all inside, so it's hard to have some type of tagline for something that it's already a short statement. And do we? Yeah.
There's something compelling about anonymous suggestions or anonymous submissions, so that we don't prejudge submissions, like they're just completely on the merit of the suggestion and not biased by the person who submitted it.
But wouldn't the issues be connected to the GitHub username anyway?
Yeah, they'll never be anonymous, but that doesn't mean we need to have their name in the title. But well, maybe just like the vision or a top value, or maybe we let. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have something short though. The vision's supposed to be short, right?
Yeah, but then have the whole vision in the title. I think it should be something easy to have some type of a. The reason why I thought name could be breaking
maybe
up.
I'm frozen. Am I the one frozen, or is Livia?
Not you. I hear you fine.
Do you guys hear me?
No, yeah.
Okay. The only reason I thought to put the name on it is because we were talking about forking. So I thought, what if someone sent like a mission and values I like, but I want to change the vision? Then I would copy and paste their mission and values and give them the credit. We discussed briefly on the last call how it would be cool to like credit people by their submission if I'm kind of forking it. And then the other idea was to, like, if I want to change something small or just the wording, then I could leave a comment in the issue and the owner might want to incorporate or not. And if they incorporate, then I don't need to submit another one. And if they don't incorporate, then I'm encouraged to submit my own thing with fork in the title and referring to their proposal. So I was just wondering what can be short in the title to have like this quick references between one and another and still be like, yeah, helpful to the person that is looking at first.
Yeah, that was an idea that came up in my head after hearing the discussion about the tech params. And using token log? How could we connect issues to each other, sort of? Say, I build upon your idea, but I want to add 10%. I don't know if that is possible to connect issues to each other and make that visible somehow in the token log. I guess it's not possible. Does someone know? Griff, for instance.
It's just submitting GitHub issues, so it's not very forkable exactly. And I think for this, just going quick and dirty with copy pasting and giving credit where credit is due might be the way to go. But token log just takes GitHub issues and you vote and prioritize GitHub issues. So does that answer your question? I may have missed your question.
Yeah. The idea I had, it would have been cool to be able to visualize it as more of a tree. Like this is the initial issue, and then these are the variants of that actual issue, which would be possible, I guess, if you could follow you could reference the issues, an issue from another issue in the text.
We could, I mean, you can do that with GitHub issues where you just say the number of the issue, where you just say,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
So
based on that information, you could sort of build a graph.
Yeah, so maybe the mission vision values is just the name of every issue that everyone submits, and then for the TEC, and then we refer to them by issue number.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It will look very sterile, but I think that works. Yeah, it's definitely better than the name. Okay, I think that was all I had as questions for finishing this section.
Can I
And feel free to do
one thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good. What about if instead of doing a fork, let's say you Levi, make a proposal and I talk with you and we tweak something, and because like if I just do my fork I'm just brainstorming like if it would be like maybe I think differently and I just want to take some parts and make my fork, but maybe we both agree and like you would want to include my feedback there, or is it just better just to fork it and yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a case for this, the last one that is written there in the document. But if I want to change something small or just the wording of a proposal, then I can leave a comment on the issue and the owner might want to incorporate my feedback. And if they don't reply within a day or they don't want to incorporate the suggestion, then you're encouraged to post your own proposal and mention it's a fork.
Awesome. Yeah, cool.
Does anyone have other comments here? Also, feel free to jump in the document and leave comments there. Okay, so last topic was the handbook processes. Nate, I incorporated your feedback of how we don't really have, I'm in the middle of, that we didn't really have all our processes laid out. And talking to Tim, we had a document before that was the onboarding guide, and there was a few of the processes there that I think it was already more elucidating. So now I added this section, how do we work together under the cultural build? And then adding the roles. I just copy and paste it for now, but I'll edit it better. the roles that we have now in the TC, and then the processes that are mostly like a bureaucracy, that we are horizontally scaling, a little bit of this information that might not be in the other places, and it's necessary to understand quickly.
Yeah, I had an additional question for the in regards to the TEC Git book. That was around the agreements. I'm actually not sure what we mean by agreements in terms of is it just strictly a code of conduct? For example, like the Hatch DAO, like there's a lot of good informational stuff here, but I don't see much of like an agreement as I would, normally consider as it is defined.
I think I could help writing on some of the Git book like topics, but I don't have edition permissions. Can I have edition permissions to contribute? Because I also saw that the Gravity space is blank, and I have thought a lot about the, and maybe I could help with that.
Yeah, for sure. You do have editing permission, but I'll send you the link again.
Please, I maybe I over it, but I haven't been able to contribute.
Yeah, so Zaptimus wrote something really great for this session of why do we need agreements. Zap, did you have a problem to paste it there?
Oh no, I'll do it. I because when we were looking at it yesterday, it was not there yet. I'll do it right after this call. I just copy paste.
Cool. Yeah. Zap wrote something really great to explain why we have disagreements, and Nate, answering your question, is it's more like how what did we agree that the TC is? So I think we kind of take it for granted, everything we're doing, but then this is mostly to have the boundaries, and then the agreements is like, what can I do here? What can I not do? What I should do. So it's all those like actions that we wrote. I'll work more on them because Mitch also had this question, and maybe it just needs to be better explained. But it's more to be used as a like consultation thing. Like if it goes wrong, like if there's a gravity issue, then we have that as a reference to look at. And most of them are referring to the general code of conduct that is on the top, and that is more like it's more general, like agreements in the sense of like we shouldn't hurt each other type of thing. And then the ones for each medium are more like, oh, here are kind of what is expected.
Okay. That makes sense. I think that under the TEC boundaries and agreements, instead of it being a section, it should be have its own page with all the agreements as a subsection, and then have the TEC boundaries and agreements have a kind of an explainer page of what these things mean, because just looking at transparency or gravity or conviction voting under the agreements, I see the action or outcomes required, and
do you think like this having it this section to explain is not what do you mean? Like, why do we need, what are disagreements? Maybe this name has to be different here.
I think that what I understand of why do, and it's like to have a shared criteria and to have like an unified, a common framework for action. So that it is like my take, and I think it makes sense to have it like in the first, because it's like, okay, because we have agreements is because is the reason that we can build things over our agreements, because if we don't have agreements, maybe the we build can change, but if we have agreement, criteria will be the same, even though that people change or other things can change, but the criteria is still the same.
I actually drafted something, Juan. I just pasted on the agreement. Yeah, just read it and add anything you think it's better. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my question was if, mostly to your comment, Nate, if this why do we need agreements here answers your concern, or if this should have a different name.
I think it's good. The name is good. I just, I think if somebody is not really understanding the context of what the agreement is and what it means to the community, I think that, just having a quick explanation of it is suitable.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that will be there soon. Does anyone has? Yeah, Durga does?
I think we should say, we should also like state it more plainly, like not why do we need agreements, but here's why we need set expectations and agreements. Just because, it's necessary for governance, right, to do those kinds of things. So, so if we could state it more, what do you want to say? With a more, I'm just losing my, there's a certain way of stating a thing that sort of just says, here's why we need those things, as opposed to why is it that we need them? And it's not as much of a passive voice in that way. Plus, I think we need to also say about setting expectations, because it is, we're all agreeing, but we're also setting expectations. And I don't know, maybe that doesn't make sense to anyone else, but I think the term setting expectations also is something people are familiar with.
Yeah, that's a great feedback on the language we use. So I updated this for now. Here's why we need agreements, but we can take another look at it. Thanks, Turkitas.
Sure.
So we're on the top of the hour. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and contributing.